recorded.
The way I did it is I stopped the lab, running a stop lab, hear everything, and then I did it the start lab to start again a clean router. So the idea is to have those routers that I was using with no configuration, just clean from the start. But the previous configuration that I was saved here will be back again. So this will give me several routers that have Ethernet connections between them that we previously did on the configuration. So, and the way to do it, to review, if I remember correctly, was doing this. So this telling me that I have on this same virtual machine 170.44, I have these 4 port numbers ready to be accessed via telnet. So if I do it here right now, the connection will become alive because now this router was not stopped or on shutdown, was available. So in a few minutes, I will have my router up and running. So and the way I do it here, I save every port and I put a name. This is going to be the CPE, ISG, the lag, and this service. No? So the way when I work with this lab, I try to run each on one tab, and then I start moving between the tabs to make it easy for me remember uh, what I'm working on, what I'm doing. So if you check here, this is the CPE, the lag, the ISG, and then is this one service that could be a computer or something else there. So this way I can see it like if I put it on the left side is the CPE, then connect to the lag, which is the first uh, point of life where we are gonna see for this customer. And then the ISG will decide if it allow me or not allow me to go to this service that I have here. So I put it this way. And here is if I need to start creating and working the routers, I use this information and start like give me the radius information. What is the I think here. So well here. If I need a radius, I can go and grab that information from here. If I will need a BNG or more details or ISG, I use this information to give me examples. And there is this the same server on this port give me a radius that I can go and make configuration change. And I don't have it here, but I remember that I was able to go one of these ports and create users with the scripts. But let's say that is a little bit more complicated
No,
for me to explain.
so in this environment where you are, if you see the radius, you will see the radius directory. So you can do ls, that's a simple Linux command, or pw. And then if you do ls, for example.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, so just to get it a bit more clean, normally what I do, because here you see you have created a lab in your home directory, so you have all those config done automatically by those scripts, it's better to put them in another directory so that your home directory is kind of clean. And then you create a directory, my labs, and then every time which type of lab you are doing. For example, if you would do, let me check out my directory. I think it was ISG training, I call it. Let me check where it is. Training. I think it's called training, this one. Yeah, so since it's a Linux, it's all like a directory. So if you go back to the first step, which is the Linux prompt, you can do cd/home/training. This is if you do CD.
I insert, okay.
Yeah, but
CD
do
slash
CD slash home
home.
slash training. And I just want to show people it's already there. So if you do ls there, you see I have a clean home directory. IOL is all the labs. The radius will be my radius. So if you do cd IOL, this is actually all the training that we start with, but we had to stop at some point because there was some connectivity problem on one of the evening. And here you'll see the training RTP. There is some ISG stuff, but eventually in all of those directories you will find a different lab, which is good because one day Bill will have a problem with the PVPoE, but the next day maybe he will have a trouble with L2DP, and he doesn't want maybe to confuse them and create two different directories with two different labs. You can do this also in this machine. And then you stop one lab and you start the other one, and you just keep all the labs like this. There's no need to ask Calo to go and connect your cable. There's just one command. It takes you 10 seconds, and your lab is started. So that's why this machine is there.
So, Alan, what you're saying is for every user, let's say if I log in, I go to home/training, and then you go under IOL, and then create my lab. Is it correct?
No, you go to your own directory and you create a subdirectory. For example, you call it my lab or you call it IOL like me, and then you eventually create another directory which would be PVPoE, and then in that directory you create a lab PVPoE.
I see. So yeah, so
it's
for
all in
every
your
user,
own directory.
Okay, for every user they have to go to the home directory, and then whatever the lab stuff they do, save it in a folder.
Yeah, it's like when you SSH to Taxon, it's your home directory. You do in that home directory whatever you want. Here in this machine is the same, except that you can build labs, and everybody can do this here. You know, if I would show you the one of sites, which is one of your outsources, they're using this machine for at least 2 years now, and they're all doing the PVP, the dialer, all this stuff is done on this machine. And if I have a question from them, we just discuss on this lab directly, and we just do debug stuff.
Okay. Well, one question. So I forgot the IP which you're using for this UCS chassis. Is it the one that I provided you, getting help from Bing, or is it?
This is the IP address to access directly the Linux. We don't take a UCS here. I mean, the VM.
Right. But I'm talking about the chassis. Is it under the cable?
No. This one is in Calo because the chassis is not routed correctly for the moment.
Okay. What was the password for everybody? Cisco or?
Cisco 123. Normally.
Cisco 123.
If it didn't change.
Permission denied, publishing. Okay. Well, I was trying to access here with Shankard's account to the same device, and then I tried that, and I know Sergio. No, Edgar. Edgar has been working here. Maybe I can go with Edgar's
you don't need to do SSH in Linux. You can do SU and the name. So you then go to that user.
Change user.
SU like this, and then you put the username, and you don't put this IP address and this hat, and then.
Yeah, because you are on the same machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
so Ramon, you are on the same machine. You don't need to specify the IP.
Arenas. I remember Edgar was working. So Cisco 123. Now Edgar.
Yeah, so if you now CD, you will go back to the home directory of Edgar, because you don't do CD / because then you're in the root.
You go to the root.
Just type CD.
I think now you're on root.
And then you now if you do ls-, you have this directory of you see the default Linux directory actually is still there. But you can create I mean, it seems they he created the radius apparently. The directory is there. There's no lab being created.
Okay.
Now we're there. Now we're there. I had a problem with the radius. The directories were created, but actually the radius didn't start.
Yeah. Okay. So CD radius. Actually, there's a script that is called radius _sc.
I tried that one.
And then you do debug because this version of free radius sometimes it doesn't create the key correctly. So you just need to rerun it more and more time in debug mode. So if you do radius and then tab, you will see it will complete all the time.
But it's not completing really.
Maybe there's still too much type of radius. Anyway, you can tap alt lab also if you don't know. Underscore, well, all the scripts are all most of the time in underscore sc. And then if you don't know, press enter because version.
You don't want to run debug. I remember running on debug.
So here is the new version. So you see there is an error. So if you do radius sc -h for alt, the same command, you can always call it back with the cursor key, yeah? -h.
That's it.
Yep. You see that you can start in debug mode, which is -d. So do radius the same command with -d. And you see recreate the key. So probably they were not created correctly the first time. And now it seems it's ready to process. You can do radius -k, which is killing it. Because you don't need to do this debug purpose here. It's only interesting if you really want to look at what is the radius receiving. And then you will see the radius actually running.
Now it's working.
Yeah. No. Ah, yeah, okay.
Oh, no?
So yeah, sorry. I didn't saw that you type it, but yeah, it's working. So you,
Okay.
You see the PID there in that stuff, it means the process is running. And it's running only for this user. And these ports, like you showed there, is 20. So if tomorrow you want to start or you go back to your user and you start, you will start another occurrence of this radius and everybody will work together without influencing each other.
So everybody will have their own radius server in that case, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only one installation of the software, but everybody can actually have an occurrence.
The instance of the, okay.
That's why I say it's a lot of work if you want to design a machine like this. It took me some time. Not only the script, but preparing the Linux to do all this stuff is a bit of a time, you know.
But how did you all this? Did you have prior input, or did you get some help? Or I mean, how did you set up radius?
No, I searched the web. I knew what I wanted to do. Then eventually I searched stuff and found out how to do it.
Wow. A lot of work.
Yeah, indeed. It's a lot of stuff. And then I had, actually for this version here, because the free radius is really old, and there is this SSH beat stuff that we had before, heartbeat or whatever it was called, I don't remember, where you could actually enter Linux because of that SSH bug. So this free radius didn't want to start because of this, because he was seeing in the Linux an old version of OpenSSL. So I even had to find the version, the coding of free radius, and recode free radius to pass through this check. So if you start debug, you will see probably my user ID at some point. That's why I was building a new machine with the new OpenSSL and stuff. If one day you upgrade the machine, maybe the OpenSSL will correct, and then you will not see the line anymore. But yeah, I did a lot of stuff. So if you want to tune it yourself, it's going to be a lot of work. But here, actually, you can work with it. And the easy stuff, like I say, like the case of Bill, if he would have got the PVPoE running, he just had to run one command and CO PVP exchange. Because as you saw in the German's case, he was starting a pager image, and with the pager image, you can even sniff what's going on the wire. So you didn't even have to put a sniffer in the lab. Everything is there to be used, actually.
Yeah, I'll send an email. I'll enforce everyone to practice on the lab, because the purpose of doing this training is to facilitate, everybody's knowledge, right? So if the individual users are not participating, that's definitely a challenge.
That's why I wanted to change the method today, because I can keep on talking and showing stuff, but if nobody uses it, it's useless.
Exactly. So I completely agree. But I'm also at fault. But unfortunately, there are multiple things going at the same time. Hey, Bill, sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I think you are the only person on this call from RTP, I guess. So let's work, and then let's focus something on this lab, and let's recreate the lab that you are doing for the case, right? So at least the PPP.
Like I say, Shangar, we can do this in parallel. We can show the lab of German. We can start a PPPoE. Sure. You try to do exactly the same on your side, and then we go back to your lab. And it doesn't take 2 hours, You will have a PPPoE session by the end of this evening where you can show stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I can work on the Edgar's directory.
Yeah.
And that will not conflict with my, I know I make mistakes, but I have it working before. What I did is I followed.
But you can also go to your directory. You create a subdirectory IOL, a subdirectory PPPoE, and then you restart a config lab from there. You could do that. Yeah, because now it's a bit of a mess in your home directory anyway.
Yeah, let me go and you say
just type exit, and you go back to you.
And I'm here. Okay.
Yeah. So, Bill, are you ready to do the same? Did you access this Linux or Shangar?
This one I never tried, but let me try if I can log into it.
What's your user ID to make sure I have it here?
I'm actually watching it to make sure I don't miss anything. Bill, actually, sorry, I think you were on mute that time. So, let's take this action and then start working on the lab. I also told Anaga yesterday, we need to, to get some practice. I definitely agree with Alan. So you cannot just keep watching the training, right? So we need to do some hands-on. So let's explore, and whatever difficulty we face will come back.
Yeah. It's I was not born with it either, so I had to learn it. And I have spent some evening, of course, to build this machine. And a lot of people in my team have spent some evening to learn PPPoE, but they didn't have to rely on Calo, nobody. They had this online all the time for themselves, and they grew up very quickly. So you can do it also if you have the opportunity to play with the lab.
Yeah, I think the problem with not with this team, with this ISG, we only get case like once in a blue moon. So
yeah, but you will maybe get later on ESR1 case where you will have L2TP, and if you have these labs, you can understand how L2TP works, and then after it's a lot more easy because you can actually already send a bunch of commands to the customer because you understand what he's talking about,
I definitely agree. I think we need to. I think it's a mistake on my part. I should have enforced in the team as well, because we have going through all these trainings. I documented it, and then we have the recordings, right? Mm-hmm. But I think we should enforce at this point. I definitely will do that. But I think moving forward, team, this is not only for Herman or Bill or anybody. Everybody in this team, should start practicing on this. I think Alan has created the users. Whoever doesn't have the user created, please let Alan know now or later. So he will create a user for you and start playing with the labs. That's very important.
Yeah, now we have the opportunity to ask a question because we are in the session. So.
And also, Shankar, you can go inside to every user and see where they are, and you will understand if they are learning or not. I used to do that with the San Jose team, with Willie, the other guys. I don't remember the full names, or Eric Batista. So, and I was seeing that I was the only one who was following the full file, this file, and they stopped during the way to get in the lab. And then I was like kind of helping them to move forward with the lab. But now the San Jose machine, which was this one, is gone. So
Yeah, the
we
point
can
is,
start.
Herman, I mean, myself, Bill, some of the folks are new, but those who are already handling ISG, this is an opportunity for them to practice, right? So they should jump on. I mean, till you are expected to handle ISG cases, right? So you are expected to play with the lab, whatever the resource we have. I mean, we should. It's definitely a slip on our side, I guess. I think we'll enforce and moving forward, team, we should definitely practice and utilize this
Yeah.
time and resources.
Because I will just add something on this. I would say 95% of the ISG case that we have got was reproduced in this machine.
Okay.
So because most of it is control plane anyway. So
Correct.
So you only left like 5%. And imagine if you have an ISG lab and you can build it one by one by one, and when a customer calls you, you have everything ready. 10 seconds later, you see the advantage showing.
Yeah, I have a
Right.
very difficult case, and I spent a week just creating the lab, a lot of time, just to get a response to the customer. It was let's say a little bit difficult, but at the end, I know I did it one time. Now I don't have the more details. I don't know how to create several labs inside this machine. That's that's one thing that I gonna learn today, and I think I'm ready to start, and I will
Okay.
push or help my coworkers to get there.
Shangar, are you also ready? Because we're going to start creating lab now. So I don't know who is not on his machine, but.
Yeah. So I'm actually watching the session. I want to make sure, we are understanding thoroughly, but I'm not actually accessing the machine right now. But if you want me, I can definitely start.
So do it, because after I'm going to review at least one lab in RTP, hopefully it's yours, and then eventually somebody asks a question tomorrow in RTP on PPPoE, you can go to the lab and show him.
Okay. Hey, Bill, can you help me here? Can you access the lab?
I'm trying to. I think this telnet to the ports, right? I log into the 8040. That's Linux, right?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm
No,
there.
no, wait. 8040 is a telnet port that is owned by German because he actually started this lab. If you go to the telnet, you will walk, but you actually on the router of German.
Yeah. I'm on the router of 8040. That's
but that's
You need
that's
to
the
go
lab of German. You need to
here.
create your own lab.
You need to go here to this guy. You see this IP 22. Your
go
username.
SS22. Okay. Let me try. Okay.
SSH.
Oh, SSH to that one. Okay.
What is your user ID?
BILLZHA. Let me put in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think I see you in this machine.
Do you have the user created? Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
It's in the chat. That's my ID. Okay. Let me.
I don't see. Wait, because it's not created. Yeah, we'll create it. So do you SSH sometime to Taxon or something, Bill?
Huh?
Do you sometimes go to servers in Cisco, like Taxon or another type of server?
Yeah. I log into the tech server sometime. Yeah.
It's exactly the same with this machine. You're just gonna have to log with a SSH on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to SSH, but look like I'm not able to log in.
Just hold on. I need to connect to the machine because.
Sure.
I don't think I'm in.
Yeah, mine is, I think, okay. Yeah, I can access it.
Oh, you okay? Your account has been active.
Yeah, but
My user is already created. I think something wrong with the password.
Can you try, Bill? Normally, if you SSH to this one. And Shangar, you said there's a problem with your password?
No, I got it. I'm able to log in. Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, not working. So this is my CEC, right?
No, Cisco 123.
Oh, Cisco 123. Okay.
Yeah,
capital or
it's a lab machine.
all lowercase.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it works. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Okay, so right now the only thing different with German is that actually in front of the prompt you will see your user ID.
Yeah, I see my user ID. Yeah.
Okay, so right now, can you do ls, German? Okay, so you see German has installed, yeah, there's nothing in your case. Okay.
Yeah, nothing, if I was nothing over here.
So what you're going to do first is radius_SC, and then you do a tab.
And Alan, one question. So when we log in, we go to the, I mean, by default, it takes you to the home folder under our with the ID. So do we need to go to do we need to create a folder first?
No. We'll first create the radius. So you have a radius already.
So radius, what? Okay, RADIUS, radius.
Radius and then _SC for script actually, like Herman is showing, and then do -D.
Yeah, Herman, can you type PWD?
Yes.
You don't care where you are with the script; he knows where he has to go.
Harmer, can you show me the command? Radius what? Under that one. Okay, RADIUS. Okay.
And then you type -D.
-D. Okay, that -SC
after the script.
-D. Okay.
D, it means for debug.
Yeah.
Are these? I think I need the // Do I need that one?
No.
Before the RADIUS.
Radius. It's like radius server. So.
RADIUS. Somehow it's not working. I see -D, right?
Underscore.
Yeah, command.
You need to
Let me
type
put it in chat.
TCL. Yeah.
I type it on the screen. You need to type that. Radius SCL.
Oh, .cl. Okay, I didn't. Okay, the screen. I need to put it the full name. Okay, TCL. Okay, -D. Oh, now it's working. Okay.
Okay, so that will create the radius.
Okay. When you do this, you will see a lot of dots.
Yeah, a lot of dots. Yeah.
And then at the end, you should see listening or something like this that the radius
ready to process for request. Yeah, that's what I see it.
Now you can stop it again. So instead of -D at the end, you do -K for kill.
Now, when you say ready to process request, should I press enter or just?
No, just kill it because we don't need it for the moment.
Instead of -D, I'm putting -what? -S.
-K for kill.
-K. Stop radius. Okay. Stop K. Okay. -K. Kill it. Okay. No, it's wait on the okay. Hit enter. Yeah.
Why do you kill the process?
Because we don't need it for the moment. And actually, it's running.
You just wanted to show us to start the radius?
No, because with this, he actually creates your entire environment. If you now do ls, you will see a radius directory.
Oh, I see. You just create the environment and then kill it.
Yeah. So if he sees the script sees there's nothing configured, he will create your environment. That's the purpose. And eventually, now if you do radius sc.tcl, he will start it, but without any debug, and you can kill it and whatever.
Okay.
So I can see there's a radius in my directory. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now, since you already have a radius directory, we're gonna do mkdir, which is a command of Linux to create a directory.
mkdir.
And you do space IOL. You can do uppercase or
IOL.
Yeah, because the labs are IOL, so base.
IOL. Okay. Capital IOL. Okay. Capital IOL.
Yeah, you can also call it my lab. I don't care. I mean, it's for your organization, your subscriber.
Okay.
So once you
IOL there, yeah.
Okay, so once you have created that IOL directory, you can CD to it. Can you do the same, German? Can you go back to CD, to your home directory, create IOL,
MKDL.
And no, first you need to create
MKD rec.
and then you see the IOL, so you go into that directory, and then here you can start creating your lab with the name or directories with name, like mkdir PPPoE, for example.
PPOE, okay.
Correct.
And then you CD into that directory with PPPoE, and then there we will create a simple lab with PPPoE.
Correct.
So just, okay, now you CD PPPoE. If you do ls, there's nothing in the directory. Obviously, we just created it. So now we need to create a lab. You need to think a bit of a topology. In case of PPPoE, and we're going to start very simple, we're just going to create 2 routers with 2 interfaces. And that way, you can start doing a PPPoE session between 2 routers. Once we go in the next session to do L2TP or ISG, we will go create another subdirectory, and every time you will have different lab. Okay, so here we're going to create a lab. So, and to create a lab, it's easy. You just need to type this cfg lab.tcl, and it's also you see in the help it says configure an IOL with tunnel environment. So if you do that command and you don't know what to type after, you just type enter. If it doesn't work with enter, type -H, maybe it's a new version. But here you see in that config lab, he asks you the number of routers you want as a first field. The second one is how many tunnels you want, but since we don't want to do any tunneling right now, unless maybe we think about doing radius after, maybe it's good to force in a tunnel on one of the router, but you don't need 2, 1 is enough. So I would say 2 router, 1 tunnel, and the type of lab that we're going to do is with Ethernet connection. So
it's going to be 1 tunnel, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, 1.
Router, 1 tunnel, Ethernet. Okay.
Yeah. Like
So
I said, if one day you have an escalation from your outsourcer in Costa Rica, you can even do an ISDN lab. So you see, there's a lot of possibilities with this machine. So, but that command that you see there on German's desktop, he will create a lab with 2 routers, 1 tunnel. The tunnel is the way to connect from the router to the back to the Linux. That's the only reason. It's a bit like your backbone in the real lab, because actually from this one you can actually go to the backbone if you want. So with the tunnel. So here it's simple: 2 routers, 1 connection to the backbone, which is actually your Linux here, and then the type of connection that we're going to place between those routers is Ethernet. So there you press enter, and he's going to ask you a few questions.
Okay, so I have it here, configuration router ID.
So first, he's asking you, this is router 40, so you need to remember a bit your topology when you start talking like this. So for Bill or Shangar, you will see another number. It's not going to be
I see 190 and 191. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, router ID.
So now we know that we're going to do a PPPoE lab. Do we want 2 PPPoE? Maybe it's interesting. And then maybe 2, and we know that iOS, when you actually create a PPPoE, is going to use a MAC address. Maybe if we have 2 interfaces, it would be at least okay, so that we can use 2 different MAC address, and we see 2 different sessions in the aggregator. So let's put 2. We're going to do
Ethernet.
Ethernet, okay.
And this one also 2,
yeah,
right?
Wait, because we also foresee a tunnel. So eventually, from 41, at one point we might want to try a radius authentication instead of local one. So we're going to put the 2 to connect back to 40, and the third one to connect to the tunnel. Okay.
So it will be 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, this correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna make the connections, right?
Yeah. So what you need to connect is the first column. So if you want to connect 40.0.0 to, for example, the tunnel, then you need to do 0.5. Yeah. So
0.5.
wait, because 41 will be your aggregator, and that's where you will have the authentication to do probably. So it's better to connect 41.0.0 to the tunnel. And the tunnel, they're always written with that name below, and with a command, this is a tunnel to the Ubuntu. So you know it's actually a tunnel, it's not a router. Because in this topology, you need to consume a router ID if you do a tunnel. So
one question here. So from port 0, right? I mean, the ID 0, which is 70 or 40.0.0, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you are connecting that interface to the tunnel, you mean?
No, not yet, because we're going to
number
use...
Number two ID.
Yeah, we're going to connect 0 to 2, so 0.0 or 40 will go to 0.0 or 41.
Okay, we are connecting 0 and 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 0 and 2. So it will be 0.2.
Yeah.
0.2.
Yeah.
Right. So basically,
means 0 connect to 2.
I'm making a line between this router to this router.
Yeah,
Port 0.0 to port 0.0.
Okay. 0 column comma 2. Okay.
The way I did it, I draw two routers, two squares. One is 40, the other one's 41, and then I make a line which is connected on port 0.0 against 0.0. So I got the first connection, and then I hit enter. And look this, it will tell me, okay, you have this empty 0.1. Where do you want to connect 0.1?
Yeah, so here in this case I would propose 0.2.1, so 0.1 is connect to 0.1 also, and then we are left with 0.2 to connect to the tunnel.
To the tunnel. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have 0.1, which is the connection, and now I only left with this one.
And it's also 0.1 actually.
0.1. Okay.
Yeah, every time
0.1 will connect to the tunnel.
Yeah, the 0.2 of the 41 where we connect to the tunnel.
Yeah. In your
Alan,
case,
one question. Let's say if you make a mistake, let's say you have connected 0 and 1 instead of 0 and 2. So how do you correct it?
Whether you adapt your design on your paper, or what you can do is just repeat the same command. He will tell you there is already something built. Do you want to scratch it? And he will say yes. You say yes, and then you can redo everything again.
I see. But let's say I want to change it. Let's say there was no configuration. I want to change it. So how will I change it?
I will show you it after if you want to do quick change.
Okay.
So here you can select a version, and I think you can select M9, for example, because it's basic, the 151, for example, number 16. But you can select any other if you have trouble. It's good to debug. So.
And what if you need more releases? Will you be adding, or who?
Yeah, I can add. But right now I'm in the phase of building that 64-bit. So it's going to be better because the latest image of Polaris has 64-bit. And so here it's good still for learning, but not really for reproduction.
Okay,
but,
so we'll select 9.
Yeah, put 9. Yeah. So you see this X86 in the list at number 5 is actually a 64-bit. It doesn't work on this one, but it will work on the new version.
Okay. And I select 9 for the 41 as well.
Yeah, you can select the same images. The reason why I did the script to select is that so that you don't load the machine with the same image 20,000 times, because potentially everybody will use one at some point.
When I selected 9, it came back to the prompt.
No,
because there are two routers.
Yeah.
Routers.
So you need to select IS for router, and it's actually saying another number. So.
Yeah. Once you hit enter, it'll go back to the prompt. Yep.
No. Oh yeah, the prompt of Linux, you mean?
Linux, yeah.
Yeah, so it's finished actually. So here, if you look at this lab, you see that he has built some stuff. So it has create a directory with base all config. This is a copy of a config actually that you can use. And we're going to use it when you re-enter your router. You see they create a subdirectory with some config that you can download. If tomorrow you have a PVPoE lab, you can actually move all your config into this public IOL-based config, and everybody can actually call it. And then you have this .pl, those are scripts for bringing up the tunnel or bringing it down. So they don't touch it. And then you have...
Alan, sorry, I just missed one point here. So the config directory, I don't know if it's a directory. Yeah, so the config, actually the actual folder path is public IOL base config, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say when you finish the lab, your configuration that you save, that goes to the public folder, you mean?
No, it stay in yours.
Okay.
And you will see that when you actually create a lab, you create the NVRAM, like on the real router, but except that it's in the IOL image, you actually create it here in the Linux. So the NVRAM, where you would eventually save whatever, IF index and so on, like on a real route, would be created locally in the Linux. So you will see those all the time. So if you want to recreate quickly a second occurrence of the same lab in your directory, it's really easy. You just need to copy all the file into another directory and do something else. So, for example, if you have created a nice ISG lab, and you say, okay, everything is working on this one, I don't want to touch it anymore. If I do any test, I will do in another one. You can copy all the files in here and move them into another directory and then start playing within that other directory. So you can do this also.
So basically copying the configuration from this folder to another folder.
Yeah, well, we'll show when we start the lab, you will see there will be new files appearing. So I was just going through.
You're talking about that base all config or that config folder?
Yeah, so you can actually cat it. So if in Linux you can use command like cat or less to see what's in a file. So if you type cat and then base all config, you will see what's in there. It's just a simple config file.
Right. I think I'm getting a little confused. I'm sorry. So the base all config is the one that has the configuration, but the next one which says...
This is a base config like German is showing you here. And what is in the base config? Some AA command, some command, just go down a bit, German. Yeah, so you see, this is what you see here. So you have a AA configuration because...
No, I'm not talking about the actual configuration. When you do ls from the Linux folder, right?
Can you do ls, German?
Yeah, ls dash la.
Dash la, yeah.
Yeah. So you see base all config, and then the next line you say CFG pointing to a mounting folder.
This is a logical link in Linux to a real directory, and if you do ls of CFG, you can do this also. Which is actually going to be a directory. You see there is some lab in there already, a basic lab user. So if you go into that subdirectory, you will see some config. You see that there is also some prepaid config at some point, and then some RBP config, which is actually X25 stuff. It's stuff I did and I saved, So if you do...
This configuration is available in public folder, so anybody can copy and bring it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wanted to ask. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want
to basically a library, right? The CFG.
Yeah, it's already some labs here. Yeah. So but it's only text, so it doesn't really connect to any text. So you would have to copy
it,
into your running config. So this is something I still didn't do, and to merge a lab from somebody to another, because all the number of routers are changing and so on. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So to answer your question on how quickly change a connection, you have this 5net map that was created when we actually create the lab. If you cat net map, you will see all the connection line by line. So eventually, if you want to change a port, you can change it directly in the net map. Can you do a cat?
Just to change this file, okay, right? Okay.
Can you do a cat
net map?
Just
a cat net map, yeah.
NetMap. Okay, cat.
NetMap, yeah.
It's all uppercase, the file. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
configuration.
you see, that's the configuration we actually did. We connected 02 to the tunnel and the 00 and 001, 01 respectively. So, but I mean, you can change it there. If you start changing on the tunnel, make sure you respect the number, because the number correlates into some of the other scripts in PL. So that's why the script, because people were confused and so on, you know.
So how do you change it?
Like I said, whether you reconfigure the lab or you change it there.
Oh, you're just asking you to edit this the file.
No. If you're not sure how to edit the file, you can do config lab. So can you go back, German?
No, this is BI. He say how
Yeah, so
can change it.
you can change. You could do 01 to 00201 or and vice versa, just to change the connectivity. But if you're not sure how to correlate with the scripts when you have a tunnel, you type CFG lab again, and then you configure again your lab. So the same command that we did before, CFG lab 2.1 Ethernet. If you type it.
Okay, running that script again. Okay.
Yeah, I enter. So here it says netmap exists. Erase yes or no. If you say no, the only thing you can actually do is changing the version again, and it doesn't affect your connectivity.
Okay, so I will need to choose again the operating system, and that's it. 99.
But if you do Control C, it doesn't create any file, so the original will still be there. You know, so. Same for WSLab. If you look into WSLab, you can also edit the file. I think it's even faster to know and select the image than trying to edit the file. So here you have the image and the installation of the tunnel. Okay. But all this stuff is built automatically with that previous command.
So what is actually WSLab?
It's an executable that is created by the script config lab to start the lab.
Sorry, say that again.
So it's an executable that is created by the previous config lab, and when you call it, it will start your lab. So when you type start lab in Linux, it checked all your directories and check where you can find a WS lab. And if you have 20,000 lab, you will actually print 20,000 options, and then you select one of those, and then you start the correct lab, wherever you are in your directory.
Okay, that's a little bit beyond my.
So now, if we do a start lab, because actually you can do it also underscore lab.tcl, enter. And you see here, in this case, you find out there's already one running, but you can only run one at a time. I mean, you can save all the config, but only one at a time can run. So you say yes, and then it will give you a list again of lab that you can actually create. And you can see here, in the case of German, he created one in his own directory. So that's why we see German WS lab as a position 1. In position 0, we see the PPPoE. That's why it's interesting to have that structure of directories, IOL, PPoE, IOL, ISG, because then you start really the correct lab. It's easy to find out. So I don't know. In your
help menu, I don't see the start lab script.
No, I forgot to update it. Yeah.
Oh,
no. It's hidden.
Okay.
There.
Where is it?
Here. No.
Yeah, but it's not in the help lab.
No,
it's not. It's not there. You need to know it. So
yeah.
I ran it.
I did the script after, and then forgot to update the help lab.
Okay. So it's so I'm typing start_lab.tcl.
He will give you a list, and probably you only see the PPPoE one, which will be 0.
Yeah, and it's creating under WS lab. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So now when you do this, it will open ports, but obviously you don't know which port it is, because I mean it's depending on the user. So German, can you go back to the Linux?
Okay, yeah, here the ports are.
Yeah. But so you type my_lab.tcl.
So Herman, sorry, Alan, I'm kind of lost a little bit here. So I started the lab. The cursor is still blinking. Am I missing anything here?
No, it's okay. It started. So you should see. Can you go up a bit, German? And you, yeah.
It says no lab running proceeding.
And you see those Unix error or something like.
No, I can share my screen and show you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm having different port from German. I'm having like 81.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yeah, now I see. So you need to type 0 because you say 0 will start a lab in blah blah blah.
Oh,
so
that's
just,
0. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Menu. That's a menu. You choose like a 0 or 1.
Oh, okay.
Depending on which lab you want. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you find out whatever you had in this WS lab file, and it started. And then you see those Unix error. That's normal.
Yeah.
It's because I'm starting interface that Linux doesn't really like, but it's gonna work anyway.
Okay.
So if you tap enter now, you should see the prompt of the Linux.
Okay.
So
the labs have already been started, and these are the ports.
Yeah. So if you forget the port, you can do my_lab, my_lab.tcl, and you will see all the information of your current lab. That's a bit like the advanced GUI of Calo. So you see, maybe you need to increase a bit the window in width, so it's a bit more easy to read. Maybe you need to retype the comment.
Okay. So these are all iOS.
Yeah, so
you
see that if you go from the very beginning after your comment, you will show you a few stuff. So you see here the full router list that you have. So you should see routers from the 70 to 79. You have some info.
But I created only 2 routers. Why is it showing up to?
Because that's your list of router that you can potentially use.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
So everybody gets how many? 5?
10.
10. Okay.
Yeah. So then you have current tunnel information. You can see that they actually create a tunnel, and you can see the connectivity a bit below. It says that it's going from tunnel your user ID .0 to router ID 71 at the Ethernet 02, like we actually configured. So the script find out what is connecting here, and you also tell you from which directory this was started, so that you cannot be confused. And if you go into directory, you will see your lab. Then you have a few process ID for all your routers, and then you see how to access to the console of those routers, which is a bit below after this series of, so you see here how to access. You can do a telnet directly from a Linux. You can do it from a secure CRT. You can do it from wherever. Obviously, your ports are not the one of Bill and are not the one of German either. Everybody has his own port. And then here, if you would run Radius, you would actually see the process ID. Below here, it's Radius configuration example. Depending on what you want to do, you can see that it's referring sometimes the IP address of the Linux system, and sometimes it refers an IP address with the X. That's when you're going to use the tunnel with X.
I see.
So here we're configuring the first router. I guess German can follow also from here. And
okay,
Bill,
let me unshare.
Yeah, but you can keep your stuff up. I mean, German can do the same on the side.
Because I'm kind of blind. I have to see what Herman is doing.
But I can guide you to type. It's not a problem.
Okay.
So here, if you do dir like in a normal iOS, you will see that you have a directory. It doesn't show it. You didn't, no, show file system, sorry. I think it's 2 words. A file and then system. Yeah. Then you see that you have a one that's called Unix normally.
Yep.
And then that one is actually the Linux that we were on previously. So everything that you have in that directory can be seen in your router from Unix. So if you do a dir Unix, you will see, for example, base config. You see this base config file that we were looking at. Now, the good thing is that this base config file brings you AAA. It has this IP domain no lookup, so that whenever you type something, it doesn't try to resolve the DNS. So you can actually copy this into your running config, and you already set for all the authentication and stuff. Now, if you want, you could add a user also. For the moment, if you set this file, you will have AAA running, and you will have a username with my user ID and www and another username www also. So you can always reaccess the router, because a lot of people do a mistake is that they enable AAA and then they forget about the login to the router.
Will I go back to the Linux prompt?
No, it's like a console of a router.
Okay, how do I, it's a Control-Shift-X again?
If you want to exit, you just kill the telnet.
Right.
XIT.
I'm saying Control-Shift-X or?
Control-C.
If you want to exit, kill the telnet. There's a telnet like, it's the same question that you would ask me if I go to Calo and do a reverse telnet to a console of a real router, or do I exit from the console? The console will stay there all the time. I mean, you cannot kill the console. So the only thing you can actually kill is a telnet to the console. It's the same here. Just kill the telnet if you want to exit.
Okay, so that's how.
And if you got to exit, just kill your tap. I mean, how do you do when you connect to a router via the console? Or do you kill the console?
Reload, right?
Or you just close your CRT, right? So do the same here, just close the tab.
I see. No, but I telnetted from the Linux itself, right?
Yeah. So then you can do normally Shift Control square bracket close.
That's what I'm trying to do, but
the thing is Shift Control. No, Shift Control 6 is for iOS. So Shift Control and square bracket close.
Square bracket close.
And then you should get into the telnet stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not reacting, so I don't know.
Well, at least Linux is like this.
Yeah, Control, Shift, and then square bracket, right?
Yeah.
Then what?
Normally should bring to the escape of the telnet. If your security has some other sequence, I don't know. I'm always using this one in Linux.
It's not reacting. That's okay. I don't know if it's the end now. No. Maybe quit.
No, it's really reacting like a router. It's not going to change.
So I think you have to come back again.
If you want, you can telnet from another place, and you will take that telnet on the other place automatically. So.
Yeah. So if I SSH, sorry, what's IP? Is 18 dot? Is it
172.18.173.54, and then use the 20.
173.
Yeah.
54. Yeah. 54. 54.
54.
54. Yeah, not 64.
Sorry guys, 172.18.173.54. I have to specify my user ID, right?
Normally no, because it's taking the one of your last call. That's why I create the users with the same user ID. So it doesn't need to actually put your user ID.
Okay. All right, so now I'm in the, so I have to, how do I have to?
But you can create a telnet directly to the port. You don't need to go via the Linux.
Oh, okay. So that's the telnet and
from your CRT. From your CRT.
Don't go telnet from there.
Do it from the CRT directly.
Open another tab from CRT.
Oh, I see. So another session, you mean?
Yeah. You see, you have two sessions open, last call 2 and last call 2.
Yeah. So just open a new session, right?
Yeah, new session.
Okay.
And call it the telnet, yeah?
And
then you type this IP address, blah, blah. So
what's IP? Can someone help?
172.
18, 173, 4.
And the port number? 871.
Port number, your port number, you have to remember your, okay, 70.
I think it's
But for users,
8070, that's yours.
Yeah, so
8071, because I'm connecting to the next router, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one is the first one.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Normally 71 is the second one, so 70 is
right.
the first.
Yeah, this is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Second one.
Enter, hit enter there and type no. That's it.
There you go. Okay.
So we will start in a minute.
Okay, cool. So this is my ISG.
Right now we're just doing PPPoE stuff, but
PPPoE.
Okay. No, I just named the host as ISG. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, doesn't matter.
Okay. So let me kill this guy. Okay, so we can directly tell them. All right.
Just open the other one so we can start configuring PPPoE.
Okay.
Okay. So to configure PPPoE, I don't know if you remember, but I will actually give you the config. So first, you need to create a client on the CPE side. So we, if you remember, we connected 00 to 00. So we're going to create a PPPoE client on, for example, a VLAN on 00. So you can create interface Ethernet. But wait, first, maybe let's copy this base config so that you don't, if you type a mistake in the exec, it will not get you into the DNS stuff all the time. So just type exit here.
Okay.
And then you copy Unix base config.
Copy. So this is the.
Yeah, it's like yeah, but you don't need to. You can type file system directly. Unix colon.
Yeah, Unix colon.
And then
is
base.
it,
no.
Case matters.
No. It's lowercase.
Okay.
It's lowercase. I'm not sure it's going to give you.
Unix colon base.
And then base, if you do tap, I guess it will complete the file.
Okay.
And then space running config.
Yeah.
Enter.
That's it?
Yeah. Enter. He's copying everything. So this is a way you could also, if you receive a config from somebody, actually put it into your Unix directory and copy it back into your router directly. So here you can rechange the host name.
So, okay, the base config is like common for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So if you do show run now, I'm just going to show you the username that you have.
I just want to reconfirm this. Give me 1 second. So you said the Unix. So this base config is common for everybody. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So do
want to copy the name change to the TBD.
That's what in the base config.
Yeah. Because
okay,
you
change
still
it back
need
already.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Base,
to be defined.
Yeah. I think the host name is 2BD.
Yeah. So do a show because it's a base for everybody. So you still need to define. That's why I call it TB to be defined. So do a show run so I can show you also stuff. You see, by default, AA is actually enabled, and the logging is set to default local automatically also with this base config. And the reason why I did this is because people will enable a new model, but then they will forget the login and you cannot connect to the router anymore. So it's a bit of a trouble. So here it's already done. If you go a bit lower, you will see the username that you have. You have my user ID with privilege 15, so you get into 15 directly. There's another one, www, and there is an enable password www also. So everything is www if you don't remember. But that way you can always enter into the router, even if you actually by accident start enabling a new model for ISG config or stuff like this.
Yeah, everyone should remember this username and password.
Yeah, and if you want, you can actually update the base config file, stay somewhere in those directories that we saw previously, and put additional username. It doesn't matter. So okay. You can. So here, that's the basic config. You can actually do the same on the one that is called ISG for the moment. So the other one, yeah. You can also copy and run, so that you don't get trouble with if you do a typo waiting. So long.
It is CFG all.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, I guess the name is not correct. But if you do copy Unix column, copy Unix column and then base and tab, it will actually complete it here.
Okay. All right.
So now it's like, obviously it took us some time to understand the logic, but imagine in a few times you just do a new directory, config lab, you connect everything. You know, by the time you finish entering the Calo, you already connect all your lab together here.
And you mentioned in the training, I remember, so by default it brings up 4 ports, right? Even though we only have 1 port in the map.
Yeah, it's because this IOL is made like this. So
okay.
If you say I need 6 ports, the script will calculate. It will only enable 2, and then you will have 6 anyway.
Right.
Okay, so now we have the lab like you would have in Calo, actually. If you go to those 2 ports, you just run the routers like you actually do it from Calo. The advantage is that if you need the radius, you can bring it back directly in your user. If you need other function of ISG, you have them also in this environment ready to be used in the Linux part. So now we just need to configure PVPoE. So let's start by configuring the CPE. So you have an interface Ethernet 00. Let's configure interface Ethernet 00.100 with the encap .1Q100. So we use .100. We create a sub-interface.
Sub-interface, okay.
Mm-hmm. And you do encapsulation .1Q100.
Okay.
The advantage is that you can even create a lot more PVPoE if you want. Yeah. So here you type PVPoE clients, and it's a dash in between. But if you do PVPoE dash, I guess it will complete. Maybe we took the. It doesn't have.
Yeah, but I think first we need to enable PVPoE, right?
No, not for PVPoE. Do a PVP and then question mark.
It doesn't even give me option.
No PVP option.
Yeah, then maybe we have some better version. Can you do show?
Show version.
It's 15.13.
Advanced IP service, probably you need very strange because we should be able to have this. Can you do BBA here in the
you see the PPP, I think
but no, just go back and do BBA group.
BBA group on the interface?
No, global.
Global, okay.
No, see, it's a lot of function so probably this version doesn't accept advanced IP. I don't think it actually accepts. So save your config.
PPP.
No, but some of the global one are still there. So do a WR to save the config.
Okay.
And maybe the other one, I don't know if it's already saved. The ISG one, did you save?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now we go back to the Linux.
Linux, okay.
because we need to upgrade the router to something different.
Right.
You don't need your user ID. I mean, it's the same in both machines, so you don't need to type.
No, it's asking for a AD password, so I think I need to connect with the IP, right?
What are you doing now?
I'm trying to go to the Linux machine.
But you can also create. I mean, you're not obliged to go to last call all the time. You can create a SSH from your.
SSH, yeah. I'll create it.
Okay.
I'll create it. 172. Sorry, guys. Again, one more time.
172.18.173.54.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting if you actually create it.
Yeah. Okay.
So go to your lab. So CD, IOL, and then PPOE.
CD.
And then we're going to do, yeah, like I said, you had two options, or you edit the WS lab with the correct image, or you just do config lab again. So you can do CFG lab underscore lab to one Ethernet. In this case, it doesn't really matter how many interfaces you're going to actually create because.
So CFG underscore lab is it the TCL?
TCL.
Yeah. And we have two routers, so type 2 and 1 and Ethernet.
2, 1 Ethernet.
Mm-hmm. He says and then map exists. You want to erase? You say no.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't want to erase the
it is
connectivity.
The net topology. Yeah.
And type enter. And then select another image, not one with Advanced Enterprise, but Advanced IP, but take one of an Advanced Enterprise. Like, for example, the 13 is, I guess, a good one. You have one,
12.
and 16 is also one. Take the 16, for example, it's a good one.
Okay, 16. Okay. And 16 for 71.
Yeah. Because otherwise we'll have the same problem. Okay, so now we need to eventually restart the lab because if you actually go back to Linux, if you
can we reload here?
No, it's still going to use the same.
You just run the lab first.
Yeah. So go back to.
So we can kill this session, right?
Oh no, leave it there. You will just drop and then you can restart it. Okay. So do a start lab again.
Start underscore lab TCL, right?
Mm-hmm. He says what is running. You say I want to kill it and continue. So tap Y actually.
Lab is already running for the user. If Y lab will be okay. All right.
And then it's going to again give you a selection. For the moment, you only have one, so it's easy. And then you restart, and normally you see it's now restarting the new version.
Yep.
When it's already started, you can go back to the tab. I don't know if you can restart them, but in Linux you can. So
it's already closed here.
Yeah. So you just do. Okay.
You have to wait for the telnet, right? I think it's the same port.
It's the same port, so you can normally restart it, I think.
Yeah, but it closed the connection here.
Just type enter. Oh, okay.
Just reconnected. Okay.
www. Okay. Same for the CPE.
Yeah, but the CPE already closed it.
Okay. So you need to.
So we need to telnet.
No, it's www now.
Yeah.
Telnet 172.18.173.54.8070.
Presenter should be there.
Yep. All right. Okay. All right.
And, you can configure a username if you don't want to use a www. You have something bad. Okay, so we go back to interface Ethernet 0.100.
Yeah.
Should have the encapsulation, I guess, is still there. And then PVPoE dash
enable.
No, go back. Dash client, and then dial pool member.
Dial pool member. Okay.
1.
1. Okay.
Okay, so this is just to tell that whatever you're going to run PPPoE with, we could actually use this.
Which interface to use, yeah.
And it's because they use a dialer code to do this. So, and you type interface dialer 1.
Man, this I typed back in 2005. Interface dialer 5, okay.
IP address negotiated.
IP address negotiated, okay.
Then encapsulation PPP.
Encapsulation PPP. Then PPP authentication right now.
Yeah, you could, but you don't need to authenticate normally in an environment the service provides. So you could do PPP, PAPS, and username, and whatever username you want to use and password.
PAPS username, right?
Sent.
Sent username, okay.
And then
www.
For example, and then password, whatever you want. Just remember.
Okay.
No, you need to type password.
Password, okay. Password www, okay.
Okay, and then you need to associate this dialog to the pool member so that you can use. So dialog pool 1 is associating this to the PPoE client that we configured before.
Dialog
pool. Yep.
1, okay.
Okay, that's it. Normally it should already start. And then you can save your config for, don't forget to save your config, because if Calo restart this machine, you're going to lose everything.
Yep.
So do WR. Okay, so now if you debug PPPoE packet, I guess you should already see something.
Right, so the server is enabled by default, right?
No, but the client will actually try.
Oh, I see.
Just go back to the client just to enable PPPoE packet.
Okay. PPPoE.
And then you have packets, event and stuff.
Or events, anything is fine, right?
Yeah. Okay, so once in a while, this dialer will try to wake up the PPPoE, and it will actually show normally. So it could take like 10 or 20 seconds, I guess.
Okay.
Something you see, there is already. This is the first packet that we were trying to debug in the case of Bill, where you see this broadcast, and in there you will probably see the host, that is referring.
But this is the broadcast, right?
It's broadcast 1.
But why is it sending? The broadcast is actually the PD PADO I.
The PADI.
Yeah, PADI. Okay, so that's called PADI. Okay.
Yeah, because this guy doesn't know where he has to go. So he broadcasts. But he's also giving you an idea that if somebody has 2 servers in one location, both could reply. Right. Because they are, so that's something you need to verify.
How do you designate the server?
There are you have the service stack if you really want to configure it, but by default there's none, so you don't really designate. It's the first that wins. The one that will reply the faster will win the connection, probably.
Yeah, even if you just enable a server, right, like PPP, how is it by default? The PPPoE server?
No. You first need, like when you configure an IP address on an interface, you need to tell the interface that you actually accept this PPPoE. So that's what PPPoE enable. And then,
so you need to put some configuration on the
of course. So on the server side, you don't use PPPoE client. Obviously, you want to terminate many PPPoE clients. Right. So you're going to use BBA group. So
on the server side.
On the
you can go. Okay. So you use BBA group, which with PPPoE, I guess, next keyword. If you PPPoE, and then you give a name. If you don't, you can use the default global. But if you give a
default,
the global is default.
Bill Lab.
Yeah, for example. then automatically, since he sees that you enable a function with PVPoE, he will create that virtual access, because every PVPoE connection that will come in will create a sub-interface of it, of that virtual access. So now we just don't go out of this group, because we need to associate something. If you do question mark, you see virtual template.
Template, yeah.
Once the PVPoE comes, it will establish the session, but then once the PVP comes, he needs to discuss with something. And that's going to be this virtual template that is going to create a template or take an information to create the virtual access. Okay.
Right. So we need to do a virtual.
Yeah, virtual template 1, for example.
Okay.
Okay, so that's I guess probably now the only thing you need to really see some exchange on the PVPoE session now is actually enabling an interface. So since we were using Ethernet 00, you do the same here, Ethernet 00.100 encapsulation .1Q100.
Okay.
And then there you do PVP enable, and then question mark. You will say group, and then if you do question mark, that's where you can put your name, Bill, or whatever what you actually wrote.
Okay.
At this point, if you go to the CPE, I'm pretty sure it's going to exchange some PVPoE session stuff. But even though the PVP is not fully configured, or partly, and you can see here.
Terminated.
Yeah, you see.
Exchange, there is a success.
He got the PADO, he's got the PADR, he's got the PADS. So we were in session. Obviously, since PVP is not configured well right now, you see a PAT-T.
Yeah, but the problem with the builds case, right? So the tag which you mentioned, where do you see the tag?
In one of those exa.
So where is the tag?
In one of those exa. If you decode the exa value that you have there.
Oh, the hexa value. Oh, okay.
So if you decode, probably you will find ISV as one of those.
Unless we do a PCAP, we won't be able to see.
Yeah, but we're going to configure PVP, and then we're going to change the version on the CPE, and we're going to sniff it. Okay. So now go back to the ISV part.
Okay.
So if you debug PVP negotiation, probably will start because we already bound some virtual template, but we're gonna just continue the config of the virtual template. If you do show run virtual template 1.
Debug what?
No, don't do the debug because we just undebug all actually because we know PVPoE is starting correctly.
Okay.
So do a show run of virtual template 1.
Show run interface. Okay.
I don't know. It still doesn't exist actually. We bound it, but we didn't. And you see, PVPoE doesn't.
I think we need to create the virtual template.
So you go, and first create an IP an interface loopback because we need to associate some loopback.
IP address.
Yeah, first do an interface loopback 0, for example. Okay. Not yet in the virtual template.
Okay.
Okay, and then you do IP address 172.16.1.1, for example, and with the /32.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can go to the virtual template. And you do IP unnumbered loopback 0. Then you don't need to configure the encapsulation because it's by default PVP on the virtual template.
Okay.
Then we need to authenticate the remote site. So you do PVP authentication PAP because we configure PAP sent username on the other side. Then we need to be able to give them an IP address, which, if I remember correctly, is peer default address or something like this. Can you do peer ? Peer default, I think is this, the first default. Then ? IP address, and then it's going to give you some pool. Take the pool, and then you give a name, PPPoX, whatever.
Okay.
Then enter. So if the guy discusses, we can authenticate and we can give him an IP address. So we're kind of ready on this one. The only thing we still need to complete the pool.
Yeah.
So exits, IP local pool. And I think after you can put your name, PVPoE_pool, and then you give a range of IP address. So you need to put 172 whatever you want, because it's a point-to-point, so you can actually even put 172.18, doesn't matter. And yeah, you can put a range here, so you put 172.16, 10, 20, whatever.
Okay, so 2 addresses, right?
Yeah, 2 addresses enough. Actually, 1 would be enough also. But
yeah.
Okay. Enter. Obviously, we need to authenticate the guy, and currently we don't have any radius. The only possibility that we can do is local, and by default, PVP is always local, so you just need to configure username with the www. Actually, it's already configured, so it's probably going to take the same.
Right.
That one is already configured. So.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see what's going on. You can debug PVP negotiation. PPP this time. Because PPPoE, we know it's actually working fine. Maybe it's already up, I don't know. Show users, it's already, no, that one went down, so we're just going to wait until it's coming back. Okay. So here we have some trouble. Attempting authentication failed. So maybe.
The WW.
Yeah.
Oh, but here maybe we haven't specified the.
No, we don't need to, because that's not the place you need to authenticate. So maybe there is a space when you type the command. You did a space, and then he's looking for password space. On the CPE, when you type the username, maybe you have put a space behind W, and then.
But I didn't type any username here, or did I?
Yeah. In the show run interface dialog. You actually define the username.
Oh, okay, this one.
And I think you have a space behind the W. It's probably one of the reasons why you might not work on.
PPP PAP send username WW.
Yeah.
WW.
Make sure you don't do a space. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's up, so probably was that. So now if we look at the other side, we can see that we went through the LCP first phase of PVP, which is discussing MTU and stuff like this. Then we went through the authentication phase, which was successful. And eventually we discuss IP, and we can see our IP has been hacked, I guess. Incomplete hack, yeah. And this IP has been provided from your pool, and we have installed the route. So if you ping that address, 172.16.10, you should be able to access the PPP.
Yeah, but you know I think I was trying to find the tags. You know how do you see the mismatch?
Now you can maybe debug them a bit more on your PPPoE. I don't know if it will show many tags, but I don't think so. You have tag now in that version, so it's okay. You see, PPPoE tag.
Okay, that's good.
And then do it on the CPE side also, so you can see this host queue where they have the packet running. So now you need to clear, obviously. So if you do clear interface virtual access 1, because you thought I actually just came up with virtual access 1.
Clear interface.
Yeah, but you did right, but you forgot the one. So now you see it's clearing the stuff. Did you save the config signs? We did all the change just to make sure.
Yeah.
So now we need to wait until it's coming back. But it should be displaying some stuff. Hopefully. Just go back at the PVPoE session establishment. Yeah, I think here you see service tag null tag, so I guess he's already showing this, but it doesn't seem to show the host.
Yeah, it shows the service tag.
But it's maybe what the PVPoE is sending. So can you go back to the CP and see if you have a host over there?
I don't see anything here.
This one didn't show much. So let's go back to the Linux.
Okay.
Let's go back to the Linux in your environment.
Okay. So I'm on Linux.
Okay. So normally all the version starts from a specific directory. So if you do ls /, so really from the root, forward, that's backward, I think. ls / public, no, the other way. Not backward, forward. Yeah. So, and then you can actually cd public here.
Okay.
You have public normally.
Public, where do I see? Okay. Okay.
And then you have release, I think, if you remember correctly, ls. cd release, ls, cd IOL. You did cs.
CD.
Okay. ls. I'm just looking at what we have. And we see an i86 binary with Linux TPGen, which is a pigeon image, which with this you can actually sniff. So go back to your directory where your lab is running, so IOL PVPoE.
That's home.
You can do a tilt also instead of typing home. But okay. No, that's not yours. Do a CD if you're not sure where your home directory is. You always go back to the home if you type CD. Yeah. And then CD IOL and PVPoE. You can actually type it directly. I think it was lowercase though. Okay, so do again this config lab 2.1 Ethernet.
Config lab 2.1. Start.
You forgot the .tcl.
Oh, sorry. That's why I'm not a scripts guy.
Okay, no.
Okay.
And then for the first router, which is our CPE, we're gonna install now this pigeon image, which is number 15.
So 15 for the first router, right?
Yeah, and the 16 for the other one.
Okay.
So make sure all the config I save, I think we already did, so we can start the lab again.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can do start lab. We will ask you to close them.
Okay. Yeah, I remember like when we were doing this for the first time, I was asking you if you could, list the steps. I remember now.
You see, that's why you need to play. Then you start remembering.
No, I'm going to document this, so anybody can benefit from this. Yeah. So start lab.tcl.
Yes, you just type Y.
Yeah.
And then 0 again.
Okay.
And then you restart now with the two new version. We just load the error, and then means it's actually started, so you can go back to your routers.
Yeah.
I think if you type cursor key, you will go back with this command you did previously. So you just need to press enter, upper key. I'm in the RM, and then enter. WW.
All right.
And then if you do show over, you should probably see that you're now running that pigeon image.
Yep.
Yep. And then the IG is still the same probably by now, I guess. Maybe the user is already up. If we actually go and IG, we'll see. You can do show users or show PVPoE session with it's already up, and you see there is a virtual access to one actually associated to it. So now you can go to the CPE.
But it says terminated.
Yeah, it's what we want. Huh? It's a PTA. It's not forwarded in L2TP, so it's PTA. It's normal. So here in the Pigeon, you have multiple tools. You have a tool called DCE that can generate TCP clients. You have a tool called TGN that can generate traffic. And you have a tool called PKTS that can actually sniff packets. So if you type PKTS.
Okay. PKTS.
Enter. No, there's no enter. So now you need to define this interface. So we were using Ethernet 00. So type Ethernet. No, you don't have to type Ethernet. Yeah, just Ethernet. Cap 0/0. And then do a question mark because I think it's capture after. And you can say capture. And then question mark, I think both is by default. So default, it's on, so enter.
Default is on. Okay.
Yeah, so just type enter. And then you need to add a buffer to capture the packet. So you tap add, and then do a tab. I think will complete the command. Okay, so put 1 meg or something, or it doesn't really matter. We are on that Linux machine, so we have enough space. Okay.
Is this meg?
Yeah. Enter.
1 meg is okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's PVPoE. We're not going to use a lot of stuff. Okay. Okay, so now you can start. So if you type S, he starts capturing. Just type S, enter. And then if you type a few times and enter, maybe you will see a packet from time to time. Because we have the keep alive anyway going on PVP. So type enter just to see if it increases the number instead of none. You see, you already captured 5 packets. You can do show 1, and then you actually display the first packet. And you see, this is like a keep alive for Ethernet. So no big deal. You can actually quit here. You will keep on running.
Okay.
And then you can clear the virtual access 1. I guess it's still 1. If you're not sure, you can do show users. So your PVPoE will restart normally. No, it was virtual access 2, just clear virtual access 2. Oh, but it's okay because I think it was, well, anyway, we'll have 2 examples, it's not a big deal. Okay. So we wait until it's coming back.
Okay.
You will see the syslog message saying the virtual access is up.
Do I need to turn on the debug here?
You don't need to because we're going to sniff everything.
Yeah, but I want to see the tag from the ISG as well, right?
Oh, yeah, you can, but you will see everything in the sniffer.
Oh, okay.
It's back up. So go back to PKTS.
PKTS, okay.
stop. So again, S, you will stop. And then you have a do question mark. Go down, sniffer file, save as iterable, this is the one. You see this line, save dash S. Oh, first you need, yeah, but we first need to tag everything. So first, no, just go back. First we need to tag all or something like this. I think it's all, or you can do all, I think. Yeah, all. There's a all, I think, for, yeah, all, I said. Do tag all.
Okay.
And then save as iterable. No, enter. No, tag all, enter, and then save as. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Unix, and you call it PVPoE trace, for example, .pickup.
Okay.
Okay, enter. Okay, now the good thing is that, again, this file is already in your Linux directory. So if you go back to the Linux, and you do ls. You do ls. Oh, it's already there. See it? PVPoE trace.pickup. Now you need to transfer this file to your PC. With your secure RT, I think you can do SCP to this machine and pick up the file.
I haven't done that before, so I don't know if it allows you to.
Or you have any other tool to transfer something?
I can try FileZilla right now.
FileZilla is also doing SSH, yeah, I think.
The host is 172.18.173.54.
Maybe you need to select SFTP. I don't see your screen, but maybe there's an option for SFTP.
Oh, you don't say. Let me share. 17.154. And then.
Wait, I think it's the wrong address. 172.18.173.54, but you type.
Oh, sorry.
And then 54. Yeah. Username. I don't know if you can do SFTP in this one.
You can, I think, but is it 22? SSH, right?
Yeah, try.
Okay. Okay.
Then you get into your directory by default. You see your radio directed, so you go to IOL here, and then a PVPoE, and pick up this file trace.
Okay, and then I can bring it here. Let me see, I can put it under, let's see, desktop.
You see, or is it this machine is once you start to use it?
Yeah.
It goes 10 times faster than using Calo.
Yeah, definitely. I think the file is copied.
Imagine in 2 hours, I explain you how to use it, how to establish a PVPoE, and to sniff. Even if you had asked a Calo case, you wouldn't even have the router yet.
Right, I agree. Okay, let's.
And here you can see the PVPoE. So we need to go to the beginning, or you type PVPoE in the filtering, but maybe it would show PVPoED, I think maybe, and then maybe with the
PVPoED, right? You're right.
Here you see the PAT, and then we see the PADI, like the customer, and then here you should probably see if we actually send.
Broadcast, right?
Yeah. And then the PVPoE tag, and you see the unique ID, and the one there should reply with the exact the same.
Okay, this is the offer, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yep, but in customer case, it's changing. But this is wonderful, Alan. Unbelievable. Hey, team, are you there?
Hello? Yeah, let's see here. Yes,
Hey,
great.
Bill, you see it?
Yeah, I see it. I see the capture. Yeah, but yeah, when this one finished, please send me uh, the link, the Webex link. I need to review it. I was lost
Absolutely,
on the
absolutely. So,
CPE configuration. So
okay,
yeah.
yeah. So only in
and
customer case it's changing, but we are not changing here.
okay, so the next time, Bill, try to get that PPPoE up. Even if you have trouble, don't mind spending another hour to troubleshoot, but you only will progress if you do the lab. And
Agreed,
so,
agreed. No, Alan, honestly, the initial barrier was these the VMs and scripts. I think now it's kind of giving us the confidence. Everybody can SSH into the machine in their zone, you know. So Herman, you have your Mexico server, right?
no, he's on the
It is
same
the
server
same
than you.
server. It is the same server. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a follow-up with the guys, especially Sergio, Edgar, and Juan.
Okay.
And the follow-up will be that they have to have this lab ready. And if they
No. My
stop on
question is
anything,
the same Unix machine do you have in Mexico?
it
No,
is
no, it's,
that machine. The same,
yeah,
everybody use the same computer. There is not two computers.
Oh, okay. So you only have lab in RTP, you mean?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
got it.
virtual machine is in RDP. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I think so, Alan. That was the initial barrier, but as I said, you know, it's my fault. I will enforce everyone to practice. I think moving forward, maybe we have some challenge in terms of the time, but I'll ping you. I'll let you know. So I think that I agree completely with you. There's no point in just delivering the training, so we have to enforce the practice as well. So
Yeah.
starting from next week or next to next week, I'll tell you the time. So maybe
You
we
have
can do the.
like 3 weeks because I will be away.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can start building the labs with everybody,
Okay.
people that don't understand. If you have a question, don't hesitate to eventually
Sure. Absolutely.
ask
Absolutely.
me.
I mean, this is a great stuff. Really, it's a great stuff. See, we are able to recreate in no time.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
imagine this is really basically what's actually PPOE, but you can do the same with those complicated ISG
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So that's my goal. So I'm going to enforce, you know, the entire team because I think the whole cable team and access team are involved in this. So we'll start practicing. So I think Edgar, the LATAM team from the access side. So are you guys are in sync? Are you able to follow? Do you have any question or difficulty? Please let me know. I can rerun the session with you guys. It's kind of reinforcing our learning.
Thanks, Shankar.
One more thing. If you ever want to study for routing in CCIE, you can do everything there also.
Correct.
BGP, OSPF, everything is running.
It's just a net map, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
that's what I
another
started
directory.
with.
It's just another directory where you build an OSPF lab or where you build whatever you want.
Super. Yeah, this is definitely a great stuff, Alan. I really thank you. I think the whole team owes you something. You know, I think it's almost a year and so I think we haven't seen any such a practical hands-on training for ISG. I think this is just a start.
Yeah.
And you know, based on the configuration that you have done, based on the cases that we are going to experience, so we'll build small labs, and then I think I'll seek Herman and other folks help as well. You know, you guys are the one experienced on this platform a little bit compared to us, so probably bring us some case experience, and then we'll dedicate the lab time, right? So Alan, what I have done is every Thursday there is a recurring training session for the team. So whenever you are available, I'll just check with you, and if you can dedicate a session for us, that will be great.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Perfect. Say, team, any question for Alan or anybody? Is it all good, guys?
Yeah, everything seems fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, so take benefit from this. I'll send the recording once I have it. I think we'll meet again next week. Alan, thank you very much.
Alan,
And,
before you left, I have a question here regarding like my ticket, because this one like we captured is like a working scenario, right? All the, like this one's supposed to follow like when the CPE send the initial, it should like give the offer with the same the host ID. But like in my case, when you know when the issue happening, what happening? The customer, I mean the CPE was sending the initial, but the offer come back, it has different host ID.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know for which reason. Maybe there is something stuck in the buffer of that machine that eventually recall another one. Maybe the customer just has 2 sessions going to that machine and there is some confusion. So, because it could be that his PVPoE use the same MAC address to try to open 2 sessions. And then it arrives on the other side, and eventually at that point, if you have the same source MAC address, and actually the packet will be completely similar, and the router reply for the first, although he was supposed to go for the second, it might be that it's completely screwed up. So maybe one stuff is to already check with the customer, does he use 2 PVPoE sessions on that CPE, they try to bring. And eventually, can he sniff or check on the CPE side to see exactly what's happening? Because I don't know where he sniffed. If he sniffed on the CPE side, it might still be that another one is using that MAC address. And then you will still need to sniff close to the 1K or eventually use monitor capture. Then you will see all. But monitor capture has limitation, especially if it has really traffic on it. Maybe you can start with this, check the sniffer on the CPE side and on the ASR1K side. What does the ASR1K receive? Maybe you receive really 2 different requests and eventually send 2, but we only see the second or something. I don't know,
Yeah, I think, Bill, what Alan is saying, we may need to ask customer if they're running 2 PPPoE session, or I've also requested
maybe somebody that hacked his MAC address, Yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's
Okay.
always
You mean like
possible.
use the same MAC address to
Yeah.
initial. Okay.
We
So
don't know
those host IDs actually bounce to the MAC address, right? That's okay.
Well, the PC the CPE will send a PAD with a specific MAC address, but suppose somebody hacked the MAC address and eventually sent host unique ID, the second one you actually see in the PAD, but you only see one side of it, you will never know,
Okay.
Because if I am MAC address 1111 and I send host unique ID 5, you are also 111, but you send host unique ID 2. But when you look at the sniffer, you see 5 returning, and you never saw my PAD, you would think the 1K is in default. But it could be that it's actually somebody hacking and something happening on the SR1K that he actually replied what he thought, But, so we don't know, because I think, I don't know where that sniff was taken,
Oh, that sniffer the customer give is a capture from the CPE. That's what they say.
Yeah. So what's happening on the SR1K, we don't know. Maybe you really receive 2 PAD with that MAC address, but different host unique ID, and you reply to one, and it appears on that CPE, but we don't know. It's a broadcast domain in between, so we don't know.
Yeah, Bill, I think let's get offline. I'll tell you. Probably we may need to ask the customer to run the debug. We can say we recreated this and we don't see an issue, but we'll discuss offline. But I think this is all. I think we are beyond the time limit. So thank you, Alan, and I think it's all good. So as I said, we'll reach out to you again, for more lab sessions moving forward.
Sure, and definitely.
Okay.
It's the way to go.
Yes, I agree.
Thanks, Alan.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, team.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.